The New York Times said, "You are the most successful mogul Hollywood has ever ignored."
I clearly believe that I'm ignored in Hollywood, for sure.
It's possible to make dreams come true in Hollywood. What if the dream doesn't seem real, though? This is what famous people like Dolores Hart and Chris Tucker went through when they put their faith ahead of their fame. Why would someone give up something more important for fame? Some quit completely, and others changed their jobs to better reflect their beliefs. Their stories are shocking and moving, and they will make you think about what really matters. Let's find out what made them do something so brave. 20. Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker is a famous comedian and actor who is best known for his roles in Friday, Rush Hour, and The Fifth Element. He grew up in a Pentecostal Christian home and had a lot of faith. As he became more famous in Hollywood, though, he lost touch with his principles. But everything changed when he was in Money Talks in 1997. Chris learned that fame or money have nothing to do with happiness. Instead, he had to rediscover his faith in order to find real peace and purpose. After this change, Chris made some smart choices about his job. He began to be very picky about the roles he played. For instance, he turned down the chance to make a Friday sequel because the movie's morals went against what he had just learned. Instead, he decided to make movies that are funny and fun for the whole family. Chris Tucker's story shows that even in Hollywood, people can stay true to their faith and beliefs. A lot of people can learn from how he balances work and faith. They helped him figure out what was important in life, besides glory and the flash of fame. 19. Kirk Cameron. Kirk Cameron is best known for his role as Mike Seaver on the popular TV show Growing Pains. In the 1980s, he was a cool kid that everyone liked. During the show, he did go through a lot of changes. Kirk made a big change in his life and became a good Christian. It made him think very differently about his job after this happened. As his thoughts grew, Kirk began to feel bad about the parts he was given. A lot of the characters in movies and TV shows didn't do things that went against his Christian views, so he didn't want to play people who did those things. This caused trouble for producers who didn't agree with his plan. Kirk bravely chose to focus on projects that were in line with his morals. He was in movies like Fireproof and Left Behind, which were based on Christian ideas about faith, forgiveness, and making good choices. The way Kirk went from being a teenage heartthrob to a vocal Christian champion shows how strongly Christianity can affect both your life and your job. He is a great example of how to stay true to your ideals no matter what. While Kirk redefined his career to honor his faith, Angus chose to step away entirely to protect his convictions. 18. Angus T. Jones. Angus T. Jones played the cheerful Jake Harper on 2.5 Men. He was once one of TV's most famous young actors. A part in one of the most watched TV shows brought him fame and wealth. But in 2012, Angus's life changed a lot. He was baptized, and his Christian faith became very important to him. As Angus's faith grew stronger, he began to think about the ideas and themes that 2.5 Men presented. He believed that the show's content no longer matched his morals, and that it would be hard to keep playing a role in a show that he believed was unethical. Because Angus didn't like the show, he spoke out and called it filth, calling it immoral in public. In 2013, Angus said he was leaving 2.5 Men, which made a big change in his life. His new beliefs led him to want to focus on his faith and look for work that fit with those beliefs. He upset people when he left the show and talked about it, which showed how to stand up for what you believe in no matter what. The story of Angus shows that faith can help you do your job and change it. 17. Stephen Baldwin. Stephen Baldwin's life changed a lot after 9/11, but Born on the 4th of July and The Usual Suspects are the movies that best show who he was. He became a Christian again because of that sad event. Baldwin changed into a strong Christian and was born again. What he thought about his job and the jobs he would take changed because of his change. This affected more than just his personal life. When Baldwin's faith got stronger, he began to back strict Christianity and talk about what he believed. He had a tough time fitting in with the people in Hollywood because he was honest about his morals and faith. Strong religious beliefs often go against the entertainment business. Baldwin stuck to his faith even though it was hard for him to see things in a moral way. He used his power to encourage people, even in Hollywood, to follow Christian values, even if it meant going against the norm. Baldwin's life shows how deeply faith can change a person's view, even in a glamorous job like acting. He felt good about standing up for what he believed in and using his fame to get the word out, even though it was hard. 16. Montell Jordan. It used to be that Montell Jordan, whose hit song "This Is How We Do It" was the life of the R&B music scene. He became well known in the 1990s because of his great skills and catchy songs. Even though Montell had done a lot, he felt like something was still missing. During a spiritual fast, he heard what he thinks was a voice from heaven that told him to change his life forever. Montell chose to stay out of the public eye and follow his views instead of continuing with his music career. He did something brave when he quit the music business to pursue a new goal: teaching. Now that Montell is the leader of Victory World Church, he blends his strong faith with his love of music. Now he uses his skills to have a different effect on people by using music and faith to inspire and boost them. Montell's life shows that things can go wrong, and that sometimes the call to do good is stronger than the call to fame. His story is a strong reminder that embracing what matters and following your heart generally lead to real happiness. 15. Dolores Hart. In the 1960s, Dolores Hart was a rising star in Hollywood. She was in movies with Elvis Presley such as Where the Boys Are, King Creole, and Loving You. She had a good job, was famous, and had a lot of fans who respected her. But when Dolores was at the top of her game in 1963, she made a surprising decision. She quit Hollywood to become a nun. She joined a Benedictine abbey in Connecticut and vowed to live her life in faith and prayer. Her decision wasn't just to stop acting. It also meant finding a bigger goal. A strong call from God led Dolores to become a religious sister and start a new life. She found her calling and found happiness in helping other people. Over many years, she worked with the community and focused on her spiritual growth. The moving story of her was told in the 2012 documentary God is the Bigger Elvis. Dolores's road says that success and fame don't always lead to real happiness. It can happen when you listen to a higher calling and follow your heart. It's never too late to go off the beaten path and find meaning in strange places, as her story shows. 14. Sherri Shepherd. Sherri Shepherd was well known on TV for her funny roles on The View, Precious, and 30 Rock. People laughed at her sharp sense of humor and quick wit, and she gained a large following. Behind the laughter, Sherri was having a hard time, especially when she was getting divorced. She found her Christian faith again through these problems, which changed her life. Sherri began to think about the choices she had made in her life and her career. She realized that the comedy she used to do didn't fit with her faith. She bravely chose to go in a different direction, turning away from the old comic method and going in a new direction. Sherri became an open evangelical Christian and chose to act and speak in public in a way that was consistent with her beliefs. Sherri now uses her job to share her views and encourage others to follow God. The way she lived shows how personal problems can lead to growth and change. To stay true to your values, she shows that you can use the past to make the present better and truly change the world. 13. Tyler Perry. One of the most well-known directors in Hollywood is Tyler Perry. The Haves and the Have-Nots, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, and the Medea trilogy are just a few of his popular movies. A lot of directors choose to make movies with religious themes, but Tyler chose to do something different. His faith and morals made him question whether they would work in the show business at one point. Despite this, he chose to incorporate his faith into his work rather than quit. Tyler's Christian religion gives him a lot of ideas for his writing, like strong family values, forgiveness, and atonement. Having faith in God gives people in his stories hope when they are having a hard time. Because he wants to tell faith-based stories, Tyler stands out in a field where some stories are just for fun. Tyler Perry's movies and TV shows now have religious, dramatic, and funny themes that move people all over the world. He shows you how to do well in Hollywood while still being true to yourself. His life shows us that faith doesn't have to be kept separate from work. It can be an important part of your job and help other people. 12. Denise Matthews. Denise Matthews, who went by the stage name Vanity, was a music star and actress in the 1980s. She was best known for being the lead singer of Vanity 6 and for her parts in The Last Dragon. She lived a fancy life full of fame, money, and attention. But in 1994, everything changed after she had a near-death experience that gave her a strong spiritual awakening. After her near-death experience, Vanity became a Christian, which changed her life. Behind her flashy stage persona, she quit Hollywood and the music business to dedicate her life to preaching. It was a way for Vanity to live with purpose and serve God. She chose to focus on sharing her beliefs instead of trying to get the attention and praise she used to get. The story of how Vanity changed shows how drastically a person's life can change when they find their calling. She gave up everything for her new faith, which shows that having a strong relationship with God doesn't get you praise but peace and happiness. Her story shows that she wants to make things right and is ready to start over. 11. MC Hammer. In the 1990s, MC Hammer had hit songs like You Can't Touch This and an album called Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em. A lot of people knew who he was. With his flashy style, huge success, and signature dancing skills, he was a superstar. But when he was at the top, he turned away from the faith that had taught him so much. Even though Hammer grew up in a Pentecostal family, he stopped praying to God as his fame grew. But MC Hammer had a big spiritual awakening in the middle of the 1990s, after having debts and even going bankrupt. He knew he had to go back to his roots because fame and money didn't make him happy. Because of this, he changed his plans for his work and now focuses on Christian TV shows, gospel music, and prison missions. Getting in touch with others who had been through similar problems helped him become a fierce advocate for faith. Hammer's change didn't stop with music. He was ordained as a preacher and spoke about his faith in public and officiated at weddings for famous people. His life path shows us that even the brightest stars can get lost, but if they have faith, they can find their true calling again. Hammer's ministry stresses that faith is about being humble, making amends, and helping others. This inspires people all over the world to put God at the center of their lives. 10. Denzel Washington. A Hollywood star, Robert Downey Jr. Famous Hollywood star Denzel Washington is best known for his roles in movies like Training Day, Malcolm X, and Fences. These movies also have a preacher's heart. Denzel has always been true to his Christian faith, which has helped him become one of the most successful actors in the business. He was raised in a Pentecostal home, so faith was a big part of his life. The way Denzel loves God hasn't changed, not even as his acting business has grown. Denzel thinks that his faith path is more than just going to church or reading the Bible. He sees his work and life's purpose as connected to his relationship with God. He has always felt called to ministry, and from his position he talks about justice, faith, and forgiveness. Denzel chooses characters on purpose who stand for moral lessons, forgiveness, and the strength of the human spirit, so these ideas come through in his movies. One of the most important things that happened on Denzel's spiritual journey was that he learned of a prophecy about his life's purpose. The prophecy showed that his calling was to inspire others through his acting and his devotion to God. People who read the Bible often are known to share what they've learned and encourage others to put their faith first in their lives. It's easy to see how Denzel Washington's work and religion have affected each other, and his life is a great example of this. Denzel embraced faith to guide his acting, while Steve relied on it to overcome life's toughest setbacks and rediscover purpose. 9. Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey has been through a lot. He is best known for his roles on Kings of Comedy, Family Feud, and The Steve Harvey Show. Steve grew up in a Christian home, and his faith has always been a big part of his life. As his career took off, though, he realized he was drifting away from God. Some of Steve's early success and personal problems made him feel cut off from his faith. When Steve lost his home during a hard time in his life took a big turn for the worse. He was having doubts and worries, but his friendship with God gave him hope again. He mostly got better because of his faith. Meeting his wife Marjorie was another turning point that made him more committed to his Christian faith. They built a strong religion together, which not only made their marriage better but also helped Steve deal with many problems. People today hear Steve Harvey's story to be reminded that faith can fix even the worst broken life. He gets people to trust that God has a plan for their lives by using Christian ideas in his writing. Through his writings, talks, and media appearances, Steve stresses how important it is to pray, be patient, and have faith in a greater power. His story shows that faith can fix and restore any person's life, no matter how broken it is. 8. Neal McDonough. Actor Neal McDonough is well known for his parts in movies and TV shows like Band of Brothers, Minority Report, and Captain America: The First Avenger. Neal is different from many people in Hollywood because he is deeply committed to his Christian faith. He has never been afraid to follow this faith, even in a field that is sometimes known for its moral decline and liberal views. Neal became interested in faith early on because he grew up in a Catholic family that taught him a lot of morals. As soon as he moved to Hollywood, he made it clear that he would not give up his morals to get a job. This choice cost him a lot of chances, especially in a society where scenes, bad language, and other situations that aren't always moral are common. Neal stuck to his views, even though they got him turned down for several jobs and made fun of. Instead of leaving the business, Neal decided to focus on projects that were more Christian-based. Even though he had values, he kept working in Hollywood, but only in ways that were moral. His story shows how brave it is to stick to your beliefs even when others don't agree with you. Neal McDonough's work shows that morals and faith can not only survive but also grow in a tough place like Hollywood. 7. Zachary Levi. Zachary Levi is best known for his roles in Chuck, Shazam, and Tangled. His work has grown in both comedic and superhero movies. It hasn't always been easy in Zachary's life either. Behind the scenes, he was having trouble with depression, anxiety, and drug abuse, which hurt his mental health. Zachary had to rethink his life after these fights caused him to have a major breakdown. While this terrible time was happening, Zachary tried to heal his broken heart through therapy and faith. Getting back in touch with God and going to therapy were important parts of his recovery. He realized that both his mental health and his faith were very important to his well-being. Zachary has talked openly about how important his faith was to his healing. This shows that even the most successful people have problems on the inside and need help from others as well as spiritual guidance. Zachary Levi is still interested in playing, but he has a new outlook on life. He believes that having religion is important for getting through life's hardest things. He also supports mental health. By sharing his story, Zachary encourages others to have faith and take care of themselves so that they can have a better future. He also encourages them to get help when they need it. His change into something else strongly reminds us that even in the worst situations, there is always a way to get better and find hope. 6. Alexa Penavega. People liked Alexa Penavega in Spy Kids and Sleepover because she seemed like a typical kid. Alexa made an unusual choice in Hollywood's flash and glitz. She stayed out of the spotlight to put her family and faith first. Alexa and her husband Carlos Penavega moved from busy Los Angeles to Hawaii, where life is calmer and more grounded. This was a big change in her life. Alexa made the change to get back in touch with her Christian beliefs and learn how to balance her life. After she had children, she really wanted to focus on her family and make sure that her children grew up in a faith-based home. Because she made this choice, she was more selective about the projects she worked on, making sure they were in line with her values. Alexa chose projects with a good, family-friendly message over jobs that might get her more attention. Alexa and her husband use their stage to share their ideas with others. They often work on faith-based projects. Putting her family first has brought Alexa peace and happiness. Her most important jobs are those of a wife and mother. The story she told is a beautiful lesson that faith, family, and love, what matters most, are often the keys to success. 5. Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield is a famous actor who has been in movies like The Amazing Spider-Man, The Social Network, and Hacksaw Ridge. But Andrew's spiritual life changed a lot while he was making Silence, a movie about 2 Jesuit missions in Japan in the 1600s. Andrew's faith in Christ grew in a way he never thought possible as he prepared to become a missionary. Through his work on the film and his interactions with Jesuit priests, Andrew began to seriously study Jesus' beliefs. He changed how he thought about Christianity so that it focused on kindness, humility, and the great love Jesus showed for everyone, not just religious rituals. He has always felt a strong spiritual awakening because of this study. Andrew learned more about Christian values from the Jesuit priests, who helped him as he became more devoted to his faith. This search for spirituality has changed his life both on and off screen. Andrew is still an actor, but he sees his job as part of a bigger goal, and he uses his job to talk about the things he believes in. His journey shows how art, faith, and personal growth can work together in powerful and life-changing ways. 4. Gary Busey. Most people know Gary Busey's name because of the memorable roles he played in movies like The Buddy Holly Story, Lethal Weapon, and Point Break. But after several close calls with death, Busey's life changed in a big way. His life finally became more spiritual after these events, including a motorcycle accident that severely hurt his brain. This led to a spiritual awakening that changed both his work and his personal life. Before he became more spiritual, Gary was known for acting in a crazy and unpredictable way. He often acted carelessly because he was enjoying himself in Hollywood. But Busey was in an accident that almost killed him, and it changed the way he thought about life forever. He learned that God had saved him for a reason, and that his life should be based on faith and forgiveness. This newfound knowledge led him to become a Christian and completely change how he thought about his personal life and work. Gary started to change his job path to fit his growing faith. He avoided jobs that went against his beliefs. Busey decided to work on projects that were in line with his religious beliefs, even though the company didn't agree with him. His path shows us that it's never too late to turn around, and that faith can lead to forgiveness no matter how far off track someone may have gone. 3. Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash, who was sometimes called the Man in Black, was a huge star in country and rock music with hits like I Walk the Line, Folsom Prison Blues, and Ring of Fire. His music was honest and deeply emotional, and it sometimes reflected how hard his life was. Cash had problems in his personal life and was addicted to drugs and alcohol. He had a huge spiritual awakening, though, while he was famous. Johnny's life began to get better after he put his trust in Christ. Growing up, Johnny changed a lot in the 1970s because he became a strong Christian. His faith shaped everything he did, even the songs he wrote. He put out albums with Christian themes such as Johnny Cash, The Man Comes Around, and The Gospel Road, which were mostly about forgiveness, redemption, and getting right with God. Johnny, even though he was famous, never changed his religion. He told everyone about his spiritual journey. His late works, especially his powerful versions of psalms and songs from the Bible, showed how close he was to God. There is kindness and forgiveness in Johnny Cash's story, which shows that God's love can always get us back up after we fall. While Johnny Cash's journey shows redemption through music, Sherri Shepherd's story reveals faith's transformative power in personal struggles. 2. Sherri Shepherd. Sherri Shepherd's journey to becoming a Christian has been a strong one, full of personal and work struggles. People knew Sherri from her roles on The View, 30 Rock, and Precious. When things began to go wrong, she was living a famous life in Hollywood. She felt lost because of problems in her personal life, like getting divorced and at work. During this hard time, Sherri started to believe in God again. Having a new bond with God gave her the strength to deal with problems. Sherri's spiritual path changed how she thought about life and business. and it led her to explore projects that were more in line with her values. She chose to live out her Christian beliefs in public instead of relying on the mean-spirited comedy that had made her famous. Sherri freely talks about her religion with crowds, which can inspire people who are going through similar problems. Because she has grown as a person, she now stresses how important religion is in her life and work. The story of Sherri Shepherd tells us that faith can help us get better and start over, no matter how hard things get. 1. Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is one of the most famous and strong directors in Hollywood. He is best known for creating the Medea series and movies like Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Though he has made a few great movies, he has a strong faith that has shaped his life and work. Growing up in a Christian home, Tyler faced many problems early on, such as being poor and having trouble with relationships. These problems changed him and taught him how important it is to have faith, be strong, and be able to forgive others. Tyler's faith is clear in a lot of his work, which is full of themes like family, forgiveness, and healing. His movies, which are often about people who find strength and forgiveness through religion, speak to people all over the world. Tyler has said that his goal as a director is to encourage others and send positive messages by using his position to spread love and hope. No matter what Hollywood wants, he is committed to making movies that reflect his Christian beliefs. His faith has helped him deal with the complicated parts of being famous and kept his work going in a meaningful way. Tyler Perry's story shows how deeply faith-based creation can change people's lives and make changes that last. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Click on the next video popping up on your screen to keep the journey going.